I'm not a fan of it. I didn't even know you were on the island. Nothing prepares you for it. Never come home. It's a fucking jungle.
It's entertainment for me.
It's gonna happen. Like, wrong bitch. No.
I put the phone down and I think I just lied about all of that.
Your time's ticking like mine's not.
He was like, go now.
Let's do it.
Take 3, episode 1.
Oh my god.
Right.
So, picture this. What am I picturing? You leave for vacation. What are we picturing? I don't know. So picture this. You leave for vacation. You have everything packed and ready to go. And then you just never come home. Ever. A dream, right? Well, you have the dream job. You're living the dream life. Everyone's like, oh my god.
Everything's
dream
in place.
Yeah, dream guy on top of it. And you're like, wow, my life cannot get any better. Like, this is unreal. Until you fast forward 6 months later. And you're sitting alone on your couch, hysterically crying, praying someone from home picks up the phone just to sit there and talk you through it because you have no idea what you're doing. You just remember thinking, this wasn't supposed to happen like this.
So let's talk about how you got here in the first place. So tell your story.
Yeah. So it's always been my dream to live in Greece, like ever since I was little.
Mm-hmm.
So every year I grew up coming to Greece, that's where we're from. And I would go there for vacation all the time.
It's home to you.
It's home to me, and I always felt it since I was little. I was like, I want to live here. Like, oh my god, I love it. Like, I love the people, the life, like, everything. Comes around another year, I'm packing up all my stuff for vacation. I'm so excited to go, but I'm also so nervous because I get so nervous. Like, for some reason, I would get so anxious every time before I would leave. Like, I'd be like, oh my god, like, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna hang out with like everything.
Yeah.
So I was just leaving for vacation, like per usual, but like that year. I didn't have a ticket home.
Yeah.
Like,
so you came on vacation again, right? But you weren't planning on moving yet, though, right?
No, there was no intention and no plan on moving yet. It was just my parents were like, we're gonna have
more yearly.
Yeah, we're just gonna say an open ticket, like, cause we want to stay, and like, I didn't have a job. I was in the middle of my master's.
Mm-hmm.
I was in no rush to find a job. I knew whenever I would get home, I wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah.
So it was like, whatever. I packed up all my stuff, and I remember my mom specifically telling me, are you sure you don't want to pack like some heavier clothes just in case we end up leaving in October? Like, it's not gonna be that hot. And I just looked at her like she was crazy, and I was like, no. I was like, I'm fine. Like, I have my one little like jacket, and like I'm okay.
Like, I'm here for summer.
Yeah.
Bikinis and that's all.
I was like, yeah, that's fine. She's like, okay. Fast forward, and then I'm all of a sudden moving. So that happened out of the blue, out of nowhere.
Moms are always right, and we learn that more and more.
Yeah, guys, not just in any other way, but in this case too. I was like, okay, you have a point.
So you come every year, but you still get anxious?
Weirdly enough, yeah. It's as if like I'm like not from here. Sometimes I would think and be like, oh my god, I'm so nervous. I think it was just the, oh my god, like what's gonna happen this year? Like the overthinking, like what's gonna happen? Like who am I gonna meet? Like who am I gonna hang out with? Like, even though like I have friends, but this year is also different because as we get older, like your lives kind of change, like too. It's not just like everyone comes at the same time, stays through the summer. Like I'm a different case, I feel.
Yeah, I think because
I
I saw you guys and I see it in a different way. I'm always like jealous, saying, oh, I wish I could come to Greece for that long. I'm always there for 2 weeks on holiday. And I hang around with you and you've got all your friends there and things.
Yeah, I would just get so nervous. I remember I would call like my cousin every year. It'd be like the annual phone call, and she'd be like, Christina, you're fine. You do this every year. You sit here crying to me and you get so nervous for no reason. And then at the end of the summer I call you, you're like, I had the best summer ever. Oh my god. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But I was still like anxious. I was like, okay, I was going super early that year, end of May, early June. So it's like, you know, people are still like working their lives, like all this stuff. I'm just here like, hey, let's go out, let's do whatever. So I get to Athens, and as soon as my foot like touched down at the airport, I was like, I have to live here. Because honestly, I started beginning to lose hope at one point. Because I was like, you know, maybe it's not my best option. Because I've had opportunities to come and work here, and it just wasn't the right time. There's always some kind of obstacle in the way.
I remember when we first met, you even said then, you're like, oh, I need to figure out a way to move.
Yeah, I didn't care how I was going to do it, but I told myself I'm going to do it. And I did it somehow. It was crazy how it all happened. I can't believe it to this day, because I'm like, what are the odds of that? But I proved a lot of people wrong. See? You thought I was crazy?
Yeah, everyone does think you're crazy when you're saying, oh yeah, I'm going to move abroad.
Everyone's sure. Like, why would you do that? I was like, why wouldn't I do that? You guys, get out a little bit. But I landed here and I was like turned to my mom and was like, no, Mom, yeah, like, I have to live here. And she's like, all right, like, start sending your resume out, like, look for things that you want to do. And, like, they were really supportive. They were, because they knew I wanted it, like, so bad. And they kind of were on board with it, too. Like, they want to be here, so. My mom's like, I'm only going to encourage you. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? So we're here, we're in Athens, it's the beginning, like I have no idea what's to come in front of me. I'm here like, okay, we're living our best life. Like I was so happy, like on top of the world. I was like, cool, like we're here. I did not have a care in the world about literally anything. So then I'm in Athens for a bit and then we go to Kefalonia where I'm from. And I remember I had all my like,
you do that every year, right?
Yeah.
You come to Athens then?
Usually, yeah. So I had all my guy friends there, but they were all working and stuff. I was like, oh my god, like no one's really here yet from like my girls. They're still in Athens or they're still in New York. Like, okay, like we'll just figure it out. Like you always kind of just figure it out. So I remember it was that first weekend. My friend had called me. He's like, oh my god, I'm so excited to see you. Like we have to catch up. Like let's go out. And I was like, okay, like let's do it. And I remember getting so excited. I did my hair. I was like, went full out of my makeup. So it was still like June. Like, the weather wasn't like hot. Had this cute outfit on, and as soon as I get ready, I'm like looking out my balcony and I'm like, is that rain? I was like, I just did my hair. I was like, no. And
my mom supposed to be my first night.
I was like, guys, you're supposed to come in strong. Like, what? I'm like, stop it, please stop raining. And I go downstairs. I go.
That's what's funny to me about here. When it rains, everything just stops. No one's going out. No one's doing anything.
So I go downstairs. I go, Mama, I'm ready. And she goes, it's raining, I'm not taking you. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're not taking me? She goes, I can't get the car to the driveway, like, because our driveway is like this. In this rain, like, no. And I was like, oh. So I was calling my friend, I was like, oh, they're coming. He goes, hold on, I'll call you in 5 minutes. He goes, 5 minutes later, he goes, I'm on my way. I got a car, I'm coming. I was like, okay. I was like, cool. I was like, I got a ride. And I was like, all right, be careful. So we go out and we go to this one bar. And we're sitting outside.
And Kefalonia is like, well, the island, it's like a small community feel.
Yeah,
like,
so you think you like know what to expect, but like it's always gonna throw a surprise at you somehow. I can tell you that. It did for me. So you're sitting there with these two other guys, I have no idea who they are, I've never seen them before. I remember seeing the one guy and I was like, he's so attractive. And then I feel like he like got up for a second and I looked at him and I was like, maybe you're a little too short. So I kind of just like went over my head. Sorry, short things out there. I was like, whatever. I just didn't care. I was just so focused on like catching up with my friend that like I was like, no, I didn't think anything of it. Well, let's fast forward. This guy ended up being such a huge part of my life. But we'll get into and unpack all of that. But this guy I ended up seeing everywhere. Like it's kind of just like I couldn't avoid him. Not in like a bad way.
Now I know when you see someone around that's new to you, it's like, okay, who is this? But like you've been going for years, you know everyone, your whole group knows everyone.
Yeah, I had been like single for like a year and I was coming and I was like, oh, it's gonna be so fun. Like, but no, I got wifed up really quick. I was like, okay. But it just happened all out of the blue. So I couldn't avoid it, literally couldn't avoid it. Like as much as I ignored messages, I was like, I don't care. But it just like we had such a strong connection and it was always just like we had such an amazing time together that we kind of just became a thing, and then it became like more serious as like the summer went on, and like we were always with our friends and I was always brought around and introduced to like this, that, and the other. So the summer started looking really great for me. I was like, this is amazing, like better than I could have ever thought. And he actually ended up, like I have to give him, not him, but like give the situation credit in general, because I feel like that was also an extra push I needed on top of my mom like nagging me, because like your mom can say so much to be like, start sending out your resume, start. I'm like, I'll do it, and I'm like I'm here, like I'm on holiday, I don't want to just like do this. So I'm like fixing my resume and I have it all ready and I have tabs open on my laptop to different positions in different places in different areas in Athens. And I just remember I was out to dinner with my boyfriend and he's like, you'd be the perfect candidate for this, just call, like what's stopping you? And I was like, well that's right, like I should call. So between him and my mother, I was like, okay. The next morning I remember I got up, I called the place directly, and for some reason they picked up, which is like I feel like rare in the middle of like July. And they picked up and I just had a conversation that like went on way longer than it should have, and my now boss wasn't there at the time.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, you could send like your CV to like this email. And I was like, great, it's gonna get lost and everything, I have no chance. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. And they started asking me questions. And then they're like, oh, wait, she's back. She forgot her umbrella. And I was like, you're in Greece, it's July, it doesn't rain. Make it make sense?
Yeah.
I was like, I'll take it. They're like, we're gonna put you directly to speak to her. So we had a conversation. She's like, you're an angel. I was like, oh my God, like, this is amazing. I got an interview on like Zoom right away, and things just started happening really quick. From there, it was kind of just like boom, 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 and I was like, okay.
Everything falling into
like everything was falling into place. I was so happy. Like I got like a guy like I was like dreaming about, like exactly my type. I was like, there it is. I got like the job that like fit exactly what I wanted to do, the exact place I wanted to be. Here it is in front of you, like everything's like on a silver platter, like here you go. And
I remember how shocked you were when you like found this guy.
Yeah, when you had first met him, and I just remember like everyone who like met me or like saw me from like previous summers up until now who were really close with me, they were like, never seen you like this before. Even my mom would make fun of me, and I'd start blushing and be like, ew!
Yeah, you were so nervous as well.
I was like, yeah. I was like, stop! Like,
you were even like leaving him for a minute, coming over to like wherever we were, and being like, oh my God, I'm so nervous, I don't know what to say to him. Like, you were back.
How cute! Like, yeah, it was really cute.
It was so new, like
it was new, fun. Like
you were in your favorite place. Like,
yeah.
It was just.
It honestly felt like a fairy tale. Like I feel like what I lived that summer was like so. Like I'm very grateful for, but it was so abnormal. Like even people tell me now, they're like, that was literally like a fairy tale. Like that's not normal. That doesn't happen. I was like, well, welcome to my life.
It did feel like a dream though.
It did. That whole summer felt like a complete dream. It was nonstop, so fun. Like my friends, like this guy I was with, and I was moving. And I remember keeping that so like on the down low, because like I didn't want to like jinx it between like me having a boyfriend and moving. I didn't want to jinx any of it. Like if you were a part of my life that summer and you were close to me and you were physically there with me seeing everything unfold, you knew, my family knew, you guys knew.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anyone back home. I told maybe a few of my close friends, and they were like, oh, what is this? And I was like, like very few people knew. I was like, I'm not gonna hard launch this, because I told myself from my previous relationship, like, I don't put any guy on social media. I'll like put like his hand or like you know, something like so subtle, and like hide his tag, like people, to keep people wondering.
I remember we were going through a very similar circumstance at the same time, so we were running up to each other, constantly telling each other things and being like, have you told anyone that? Have you told anyone that? I was doing the same.
We were having so much fun, and we just
like
got each other.
Yeah.
I was like, nothing could possibly go wrong. So like the summer was like winding down to an end, and I just remember thinking like I accepted my job offer, and I was just like, oh my God, like I'm doing this.
This is happening.
This is happening. And I remember getting so like I was feeling so much. Like it was overwhelming how much I was feeling, because I was like, I'm happy, I'm nervous, I'm excited. Like I don't know what I'm
Something's gonna happen.
I was like, I really don't know what's happening. I have so much support around me. I think I tell a lot of my family. Like I remember I was sat one day in my room, and I just like started hysterically crying, and my mom comes up and she's just like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm just so scared. Like, and my brother comes in, and my sister-in-law comes in, and they're like, why is she crying? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I was bawling. Like I just had so much in me. I was like, they're like, are you crying because you don't like, because you're gonna be away from your boyfriend? You know how you're gonna make this work? I was like, maybe, but then I'm gonna leave all of you. When am I ever gonna see you? You're gonna forget about me? And then, like I just remember everyone just like hugging me, and they're like, no, like that's not gonna happen. This is amazing. You're so brave. You're so this. You're so that.
So this is when it really sunk in that you were gonna be moving.
Yeah, it was hitting me around like August, and I was like, I don't know. Like this is so crazy. And my brother's like, you're gonna be fine. Like you're gonna be okay. Like I know you. He was so. My brother's so great. Like he's like, we're not gonna forget about you. Like come on. Like we have FaceTime. We have everything. We can talk. We can plan trips. Like it's gonna be fine. You'll be home for Christmas. So I kind of just like was like, okay. My brother was getting married that year, and I, being the absolutely most amazing sister ever, I didn't want to take the spotlight off of him. So obviously I wasn't telling anyone about my news until he got married, and that's when we had like a lot of family flying in. So after we got married, I just announced it one night. We were all out, and I was like, moving to Athens, and everyone was so supportive, and it felt really nice.
Yeah, now it's out, everyone knows, all the closest people you know.
Yeah, so it felt really nice, and then we went back to Kefalonia because my brother didn't get married there, he got married on another island. And I just remember, like, I was just enjoying every last moment. I was saying bye to, like, my friends from the States and telling them, and it was, like, emotional, like, them saying goodbye to me, when are we gonna see you, like, blah, blah, blah. Even my friends from Canada, like, saying bye to them, but I see them every summer. So I was like, okay, this is nothing, like, abnormal. I remember my one friend who was like, we're booking you a ticket, you're coming to Montreal, you're coming to Toronto, you're gonna surprise all the boys, you stay with me. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. We were talking about it for so long. And then towards the end of the summer, he's like, why are you being so weird? I was like, I'm not weird. Like, you're weird. He goes, so are you coming? Like, are we booking your ticket? I was like, you need to give me some time. Like, I don't really know. Because I didn't want to say anything either at the time. I was like, I'll tell them when it's right.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, like.
Why is she not as sad as normal?
Yeah. I was like, no, let's not book it yet. Like, let's just wait. And then in the summer, I told them, they're like, that's why. I was like, that's why. Because I'm not coming home. And I'm not coming to Canada from Greece. They're like, honestly though, like, you made the right decision.
Yeah.
Like, it's good, like, this is gonna be good for you. I was like, okay.
I remember her, like, running up to me on the beach, like, dream scenario, you're at a beach party, and you ran up to me and you were like, it's happening. I was like, what's happening? You were like, I'm staying. You said I'm staying. And I was like, what do you mean you're staying? And she was like, yeah, I'm not going home, I've got a job, I'm moving to Greece. It was crazy.
Yeah, I know, it's literally, like, that's to think about. And I just remember at that moment too, I was like, I have no clothes. Like,
that's when you were like, oh my god, my mom was right.
I was like, I'm gonna be working in a bathing suit and heels. I was like, oh, here comes the whore, a new employer. Like, I was like, what am I gonna do? And you're like, it's gonna be fine.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it all out. And just imagine, like, you're all overwhelmed, you're all excited. But, like, where are you going? I have no place to live, and I have no clothes for, like, other seasons.
That's what we were figuring out. You were stood there and you were like, oh no, I'm going to get all my other stuff shipped, I just don't know when it will arrive. And we were like, where are you getting it shipped to? You do?
I don't know.
We'll
figure that out. So I was on a deadline, like, all this was happening, but picture this, like, you have this timeline, and you have to be in Athens by a specific day to start work. And they're giving you, my job was amazing, they were helping me so much, like, with, like, realtors and stuff, but, like, it was also difficult because your parents are like, okay, this is the budget for, like, rent. We need to find you a place just for you that's gonna be good for you to go to work, because you're not gonna have a car. You have to be near metro, you have to be close to work, it has to be convenient, and all within this price limit. Oh, and by the way, it has to be fully furnished. And we're, like, looking, and, like, that's hard to find. I'm like, oh my god, what? It was, like, really bad. I had, like, 2 weeks to go, and I was like, I don't have a home.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was like, can I stay in a hotel? My dad's like, are you crazy? You want me to put you in a hotel to live for, like, how many months? I was like, I don't know what to do. I'll just sleep on the street. And they're like, relax, we'll figure it out.
But it goes to show that you can do it. Like, you're here and it did work.
Here, guys, nothing should stop you. Nothing stopped me. I had no home. I had no clothes for any other season other than summer. And here we are now. It all worked out somehow. So if you really think, like, if you really want something, I can promise you, you will find any way to make it happen. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone lose your focus. Like, if you want it, do it. I promise you everything will somehow, in a weird way, work out and fall into place. That summer, I didn't really live home that much.
No.
I was, like,
you were
rarely
just
home.
celebrating, right? Like,
we were just always out. Like, I was, like, practically living with him a lot of the time. Like, and my parents, it was also so suspicious. Like, everyone was like, everything was, like, perfect. I never had that experience where, like, my family was so, like, oh, okay, like, go, stay, go do this, go do that. Like, and I was like, what? Like,
yeah, they were so relaxed. Like,
they were so
glad
relaxed.
you're having fun with your friends. Like, enjoy.
Yeah, and, like, especially, like, having a boyfriend, I was like, you like him this much? I was like, this is, like, we're all on the same page here. I was like, well, this is crazy, guys. So I was, like, really home, and you know that. And I remember one day I had come home, and my mom and dad were there sitting, and I was like, hi, and they were like, welcome back, sit down, we have news. I go, what? They're like, okay, so we talked to your uncle. I would go, okay, and we found you a place to live. And I was like, what? They're like, so the guy who's renting out the top apartment is leaving. And I was like, you're kidding. And then I told him that you're moving, and he goes, so it's yours, rent it. Like, I'll give you a better price. Like, I know you guys wanted to find something. Like, this is perfect for her. 10 minutes from the metro, like, you're in between everything. She's in a good location, safe area, brand new apartment. Like, I was like, well, show me pictures. They're like, show me pictures. I was like, you're kidding. Like, this is insane. So I was like, show me, show me, show me. Oh my God, I'm so excited to see this. I was like, this is unreal. Like, this is beautiful. Like, wow. So then the ball started like rolling. So I still didn't have a home.
Yeah.
Like, I still had to be somewhere. They were like, well, just look for an Airbnb for like the month and a half we'll be there. How bad could it be? And I was like, okay. So we're searching. We find this little studio. It's super cute, in a good area right by the metro, close enough to work, close enough to the center. I was like, oh, great. Like, we booked it. So days are getting like shorter and shorter. Like, I'm still living this like dream. I'm like, oh my God, never ending summer. Like, romance, like, woohoo. And then it's like getting closer and closer. I remember the last few days like being together and like all this stuff. It was so nice and like really just meant a lot. I said bye to all my friends. It was just really time for like me and my boyfriend, and it was nice. Like the little dates and stuff we would do every day. I was like, oh, cute. And then
you're planning all.
And we're like talking about like what's gonna happen. Because I remember him saying like on our first ever date, he was looking at me and he was like, don't leave. Like, I don't want you to go back to America. I was like, I don't either. Well, I'm gonna make it happen. Like,
I'm gonna be
here. Like, don't worry. That time comes. My parents, you know, my mom's like, pack what you need. We went shopping just to get some like basic things I didn't have for like work.
Just so you could start.
Just so I could like
just
start.
So I could not work in a bikini.
You know, I still could have like a fresh start. They wouldn't like judge me like right away. So it's like, okay. So my parents stayed with me in Athens for the week to help me settle in and like get everything handled and, you know, be with me on my first day of work and everything. I'm still like, I feel like I'm still a child, but here I am. But so that was nice. And I just remember my first Airbnb. It was this little studio. And I just remember he showing me around all the stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like really overwhelmed and I'm just looking and I was like, I had this look on my face. And my mom knows, like, if you know me, you know that look.
Yeah.
And as soon as the guy left, I was like, thanks so much. I just sat in the corner of the bed and my mom goes, oh no.
It's coming.
And I just started sobbing. I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, this is where you put me. I'm becoming a brat at this point, but it's all overwhelming, all for a good reason.
Yeah,
I didn't even want to
it was all the other emotions.
So my dad was like, oh my God.
She's crazy. She's crazy. She's going crazy.
They're really trying to calm me down. I actually ended up loving that place. Like, I had to keep extending it because the guy living at this place wouldn't leave because he couldn't find a place and everything was falling through. I was like, oh my God, like, I'm gonna fight this guy. Like, so I was like, just be patient, keep extending it until Christmas. So the guy who had that studio was coming back because he was in London living. And he was coming back for Christmas and that was his place. I was like, how selfish. I was like, you're letting me homeless. It's like, guys. And I was like, it's his place. I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? She was like, okay, start looking for another Airbnb. We'll book it up until, you know, whatever. And then hopefully by that time your place will be ready. So I booked this other Airbnb. My friend and I found it. She goes, it looks so much bigger, so much nicer. I think it'll be good. It's still around the same area.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. And I remember my boyfriend had flew out to help me move with like my uncle to the new place. I'm very lucky. I had so much help with like everything. I was so grateful like for all that that I had.
You need that. It's
You
like
need
terrifying.
that. And like most people like just picking up and moving wouldn't have that. You know what I mean? So I was very lucky in that sense. So they moved me into this new place and boy did I get catfished.
This is when I remember texting you because I'd already been home for ages.
She was
I
back
already
in the UK.
Yeah, I was in the UK at this point. I just texted her. That's how I was catching up on the journey. And I was like, so how's the new place? Like I was really excited for it. And she was like, yeah, a bit of a change from what I thought.
I was like, yeah, I'm in a second Airbnb and I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
And I'm miserable here. And you were like, oh, I was like, whatever, we'll catch up. Like, so we moved into this little dungeon because it was ground level dungeon. It was dingy, it was disgusting, it was cold down there. Like I remember I couldn't even do my laundry because if you live on like the bottom floor, like it's humid. So I could barely like wash my clothes like properly. It wouldn't dry. I was like, what is this? Like I was scared to be there alone. So I was lucky though because I really only spent like 3 or 4 nights there alone.
In the dungeon.
Suffering. I remember like just crying or like being on FaceTime like, oh like this, but you get used to it. You have to get used to, you know, your circumstances at the time, and
Sometimes
push
when you
through it.
decide to move country with no plan,
There are gonna be bumps in the road, okay? It was a roller coaster of an adventure, but it was all for the better. So I remember being there, and I just would go to work and just dread coming home. Like, that's how much I hated that little shithole.
yeah.
I remember like bleaching. I was like on my hands and knees, like scrubbing the bathroom floor because I was so grossed out. Like, even to shower there, like, that's gross for me. I was like, I don't want to do
It's
it.
different with an Airbnb because it's not your space for a
Yeah.
long time. Like, it's
At least like the other one I had, I was like comfortable. With this one, I remember they were bringing me something for like mold, and the cleaning lady who had lived upstairs was like, a little mold, something do anything. Some like bacteria is always good for you, and I'm like, and I just like sat there crying on my hands. I was like, this is disgusting. Like, no. So then I was there until like Christmas time, and I went home for Christmas. And I went home alone because my boyfriend couldn't come. So I was like, okay, it's gonna be weird, but like it was still like nice. I was excited to just go home and like not be an adult anymore because it was very overwhelming. So I was just excited to be home for Christmas and not just have to worry about anything. And I remember telling my parents about this place, and they were like, well, let's like do something about it. I was like, I love where I am. I don't want to go back because I know I have to go back and live there. Like, I refuse. I can't do this. And I was like, all right, let's call Airbnb. I complained. I am so lucky I had receipts. I had text messages from the guy. I had pictures that I took, like proving my points. And Airbnb had given us like half a refund back and like a credit to find another place. So we had found this other place in the same area that was an even better location, closer to the metro. I was like, perfect. Mom was like, you better be sure about this one because we can't get our money back. We're not doing it again. So our third adventure awaits, and I fly home, and I remember my boyfriend was like, when are you coming? And blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, this is where I'm at. He goes, oh, I'll come pick you up from the airport. I was like, oh, what a dream.
Yeah.
Like, and I always picture that, you know? I was like, okay. But he got drunk instead and didn't come. So I took a cab, and maybe he was better off because I wanted to like go home, and like I had a lot of shit to pack. So it was the next day I was moving out of that place, like ASAP. Everything was bum, bum, bum. So we had spent like that whole weekend together before he had left to go back. And I remember I was so excited. I had set up everything on my kitchen table because I came back with gifts. Like, it's Christmas, right? Like, you get people gifts. And I was just so excited to see him. He came with just a last minute run to get champagne for us. No gift. Like, I was really like taken aback. I was like standing there like happy because like, you know, when
you're getting to see him again.
I'm getting to see him again, and like I love giving gifts, and I love making people happy. So I was like, okay, like I'm happy. And I just remember it was in the back of my head. He was sleeping, and I was jet lagged, so I had woken up at like 1 a.m. staring at the ceiling, and I just started hysterically crying. And I went to the kitchen, shut the door, and I closed. And I picked up my phone. I called my mom, and I started hysterically crying. They looked at each other, like, what happened? And I was like, oh my god! I was like, I'm just so upset. My mom's like. Talk to him, like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. Anywho, so that next day we had waken up, and like my uncle came again, and him and my boyfriend moved me to my next place. And boy, did I love that place. It was like living in a hotel. Like, I loved it. It was beautiful. I was like, this is great. I was there for maybe 2 months and still didn't feel like I had a home.
Yeah.
You know, I was still like a nomad, like, okay, wherever the wind takes me, and I was moving all my stuff all over again. And this place I love, so I was like, I'll stay here as long as I want. This guy can stay in the apartment and not leave for months. I don't care.
Oh, this is another Airbnb.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then work started again, and you know, we're back into our routine, trying to get things like going. So I was there, I loved it, and then by the time my birthday had come around in March, I finally was slowly starting to move into my apartment, like things. I was like, okay, and I did that move with my uncle and a couple of my friends who had helped me. And that's where things really started to like go down, and I kind of was just like, oh my god, like no, this can't be happening. Like, what's going on? So I remember it was March, and I moved into this place, and it was this big place. I moved in. I came from 3 Airbnbs where everything was kind of just ready for me. It's my first time like doing this, like living alone, granted in a new country, and I just looked at this big empty space, and we had all the kitchen appliances were in, the 2 beds were in, but that's all I had. And like whatever supplies my mom had packed for me, to like start me out with like kitchen stuff, and like my uncle, like so I can eat on stuff, like I had things very well set up, but like granted I didn't have a TV, a couch, air conditions, like anything really. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, my uncle's like, what's wrong? You don't like it? I was like, no, I'm just like, this is crazy. Like I'm finally here.
Yeah.
I have no furniture. So he had set me up. He was so sweet. He set me up with some like just temporary things.
You made the pool table.
You remember that? Wow, that felt like another era. Like I was eating on a poker table with like plastic chairs. In this area, I had like 2 like picture like your grandma's sofa chairs, 2 of those, and that was honestly it. I was like, okay, like trying to organize as much as I can, trying to make this house a home. Calling my mom, and she's like, it's okay, we'll be there soon, because they would come fly back and forth often. We'll be there soon. Like don't do anything, it'll be fine. Everything will happen slowly. Like with these things, honestly, guys, you can't rush them. Like it'll happen slowly. If you rush things, get like mixed up. So I'm already overwhelmed as it is. I'm in a new area again, have to like learn a new neighborhood. Granted, they weren't all too far off, but it's all still new. I'm in a new house. Like you have to get used to like a new routine.
It feels like you're
starting over again. And on top of that, I was dealing with a lot emotionally, because I was in this relationship that was so perfect, and at the end of the day, like it really wasn't. It was like a fairy tale that like took a turn, and like in the midst of all this going on and everything's so new, like that's the last thing you need. Like you have this person who literally is like a main character in this new chapter of your life you're starting.
Well, it meant a lot to you. Like it was, he gave you the extra push you needed. You knew everything. He was there throughout the whole journey. It was like
he was there with me, like starting over, and like he was so great up until a point, and we had these high highs and then these like low lows. Like this isn't normal. Like I knew it wasn't, but I kind of didn't want to let go and like face reality. If we have to break up with him, I have to like, this isn't healthy, because you know he was such a big part of my life, and like he was someone I could like lean on. He was, at the time I thought like he was there for me so much, and my friends were like, no, he wasn't. You did this all by yourself. Where was he?
We said that too later.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
they were like,
big
how much
you've
like,
done
on your own. Like it was you, like. But you know, it was also bad timing again, because it was like my birthday's coming up, and like if you know me, I love my birthday. I just didn't want anything to affect it, so I was kind of like brushing it off and trying to be like, okay. But like, you know how much it sucks to like go to sleep with like a pit in your stomach every night for months. Like I just felt like I was going through so much change and exciting things, and it's so hard to get like situated that first year of everything being so new, and you want to do so much. Like I wasn't even looking forward to breaks I had, or like weekends, because I was like, will I be here? Like who am I gonna hang out with? What am I gonna do? Like I'm lucky I had friends like here to begin with, and like I met people along the way. But then it's just like, oh, like here in this new country, everyone's like, oh, it must be great to be single in this country. But it was different for me. Like I had this dream relationship. You feel like you're on top of the world, and then as soon as like all these things start happening, you move, it's slowly starting to like decline, and then it comes back up again, and it's declining, and you're like, this is
where did all this come from?
Where did all this come from? And then I remember thinking to myself like, will I be thankful, or like be this, be that? I just didn't want to let go of something, so I was like, then summer's gonna come again, everything's gonna be fine, right? Everything's gonna be fine, it's gonna be the same, it's gonna be fun, and like, if I end this now, what if I lose all this? And I was so scared, and then I'm gonna be alone, and everyone's like, you're not alone.
And you were going through this on your own a lot as well, because you hadn't said anything.
I really wasn't telling a lot of people. Like it was just my parents, and then like my one close friend at home. Like everyone like really thought, like that's just proves like social media is like so fake. It's so funny because everyone's like, you're on this amazing journey, like you live this amazing life, it's like you're on a permanent vacation. And like, yeah, I'm so thankful, like it has been really great, but you're not seeing the reality of like moving and what it's like, and like balancing a relationship with it that's like no one's really seeing how awful it's getting, and I'm just sitting here like, what the hell?
And I was still at home, I hadn't moved yet, and I thought, oh, she's living the dream still, I'm gonna come and join it, like.
Yeah, and no one like really knew, because I remember we had met up like after Christmas, like, and you were telling me how you were moving, and I was like, yay, and like I was seeing things unfold for her. I was like, that's how it should properly happen, and like obviously in my head I'm like hoping mine goes in like a direction where it's like this perfect life I'm living is just gonna continue.
Yeah.
And it was just like wasn't. I was like, what is going on? Like it's so good, then it's not. I'm like, this is too much. So you were here for my birthday, actually.
Yeah.
You were here for my birthday, and thank God. So like, I wanted to do so much for my birthday, but it was also like you're in a new country. You're kind of trying to like conform to the customs of like how they do things here. It's a bit different for like birthdays. So I was like, okay, I need to like, knowing me, I want to go over the top. And I was like, oh, well, I can't really, I had to live within my means and what I could do. Yeah. It was also like, picture this, you're in a new city, you're like just figuring out what's good, what you like, and you want to do all these things, but like, I'm also like, I can't afford all these things right now. Like, okay, this is what we'll do. I'll have the day of my actual birthday, like a few close friends and my boyfriend, go out to dinner, have fun, we'll enjoy the night. And then that weekend we'll all go out and do like this big thing, get a table. So my birthday rolls around, my parents ended up flying in, and they surprised me to stay with me for the day so I could like wake up with them here on my birthday, and they had left to go to California, and my boyfriend was going to fly in for my birthday, and I was so excited, and he's like, yeah, you have nothing to worry about, it's going to go perfect. I was like, okay. So the plan was he was going to come the night before and stay with me, but my parents here, I had no idea. I came from work, and I was like, oh my God. So I remember he's like, hey, like when should I come over? And I was like, let me call you. I was doing my hair. I was like, my parents are here. I was like, listen, I'm really excited to see you. Like, just come tomorrow after work. And he just left me on red. And I was like, great. I remember the next day was my birthday. I celebrated at work, whatever. I was so excited. I was getting all phone calls. It was, you know, this happened. My parents had left that morning. And he didn't call me, text me, nothing all day. And I remember I was like at work, tearing up. My friend from Canada called me, made me feel better. He's like, oh my God, happy birthday. And I just texted him straight. I was like, hello. He goes, hey. And I was like, are you coming over for work? He goes, yeah. I was like, all right, be here at this time. This place, this is what we're doing. He goes, oh, like being like going around it. I was like, just be here at this time. He goes, okay, I will. I was like, this is the plan. This is what I want. It's my day. He goes, okay. So I come home from work, like freshen up. So we're enjoying the night. We go out to dinner with a couple of my friends. It was so fun. The bill comes. Everyone's like, oh, we can all split it. Because in Greece, you pay for everyone on your birthday. So I was like trying to be all prideful. I was like, no, I have it. They're like, are you sure? No, we'll split it. That month fucked me, like financially. But anyways, I had an amazing night. Next day we had planned to like cook together, like he'd come over. And who would have thought? Like you're like trying to stay on this high for your birthday, and then who would have thought everything came crashing down the next day? And he came over and like was on the phone. And I was like, all right, come in. He's like, oh, you have to go. Like, I'm at my friend's house. She's going to cook for me. And I looked at him. I think I lightly tapped him. I was like, what? I was like, your friend. I was like, what? And I was just like, what is going on? Like, so I was like, I had a lot to think about. He had left, lo and behold, the next day. He was out of here. And I just had to take a lot of time to think, like, all right, like, all these red flags are building up. Like, I was seeing the signs in front of me, but I was like really like.
But did it start hitting you then?
It started hitting me. I was like, I know what I have to do, but my head and my heart were just not matching up.
Yeah.
You know, it was really difficult, like living through all this and then this on top of it, and I'm like, everything's crumbling.
I didn't even know about it till I actually got there on your birthday. So she'd organised a table at this bar, and I came and I met you and all your friends there. And
I just wanted to have fun. And I remember my cousins coming, my friends, like. Do you know when like you just have like all these different friends, like I have all my friends I know for a while, people I'm meeting, and I want everyone there, I want something big, and it's just like you're throwing like all these random people into like a vibe, you know, you can only do that with certain people.
You were nervous though.
And I was like, well, I hope it's fun. It ended up being fun, but I remember everyone coming like, well, where is he?
Yeah,
and I was
like,
what
I said, I was like, what?
He's not here? And everyone like, I started to tear up, I was like, leave it, I'll tell you guys another day. Yeah. And everyone was just like, okay, like. And then at the end of the night, we closed down the place, and I wanted to go to the next place. And everyone was like, I've worked the next day, or I can't, I'm really tired, like, I'm sorry. And everyone just started, like, leaving at the end of the night. It was, like, 1 a.m., and I was like, I don't want to go to carry you. And then, thank God, like, she was an angel. Like, her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's friend showed up, and we were having so much fun. They're like, you know what, no, we're going to go out. We're going to continue this. And they, like, took me out. And
because I remember I was like, everyone else was going, so I was like, oh, okay, we'll go. And you were like, oh, I was like, no, we're not, just kidding. And then we went out, like, the four of us, and we ended up having a lot of fun, but, like, then it came to that point where, like, we were drunk, and, like, I was getting emotional. That point in the night where we went out together, and I just started crying, and I told her really fast, like, everything that just happened, and she was like, what? Yeah, what? So I moved in not even long before. Yeah, you were here for, like, a month. Yeah, I moved in really close to your birthday, and they said I thought everything was still perfect, you're living this dream still, and I came and I was like, oh.
I just laid everything on you, and I was like
Yeah.
tearing up, and I was like, and you're like, oh my god, it's gonna be fine, like, okay. Yeah, because it's like also like you're here, you're new already, and people, like your friends, they want to include you in everything, they want to make sure you're okay. And like on top of that, I just don't want to be like a baby, you know, I don't want to I never want to be a burden on anyone. So I was like, oh, I don't want to lay this on them too, like everyone's looking out for me as much as it is, like I'll be fine. And I remember one of my best friends I met through work, like she had met me and I was on this high, like I was so happy, and then she was with me throughout this whole roller coaster, so she's seen me through like everything. Like bless her, like she's amazing. And I remember just calling her, started crying. I remember the night I did actually break up with him, the weekend after, we were on a walk together, and like she was there for me, and I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So that had happened, and again I had another long break for work, and my parents happened to be here, and I remember FaceTime my mom. She was Kefalonia, and she goes, how's your birthday? I was like, it was good. I was like, I think I have to break up with him. I just did it. And my dad was on the phone. He was like, book her a ticket home for Easter. Like, she's not going to spend 2 weeks alone like this. Like, because I would have just been shriveled up in my bed, like depressed. So I went home for a bit and laid super low. Like, I wasn't posting, like really low.
I'm glad you did.
Like, no one. I needed like time away. And lo
you
and
forget
behold,
when you move out, like how much of a comfort blanket your family are for
yeah,
you. And
they're like your biggest like support and everything.
Yeah.
Like I
or
really
just
needed them.
Or just whoever you got around you, whoever you're used to around you,
Yeah.
and that's gone. It's such a different. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a shock.
It was like such a shock. So it was good to like go home and like lay low. And he obviously came back around again. We're like on and off, and I was like, whatever. So it was like that confusing period, and still like knew and didn't know what was gonna happen, but that was all a part of my journey and how I got here, how everything was amazing. And when I said everything got handed to me in like a silver platter, I was like, here you go. And I was like, wow, I'm so lucky. And I'm still so lucky. I'm still so thankful for everything I've been able to do and everything I experienced, all the good times and everyone I met through him and all the experiences I had. But at the end of the day, like I just remember sitting there being like, well, why is this happening? Everything was so perfect. And like there was no explanation. I was like, this is a sick joke. Like
you went from such a high.
I went from such a high, and from everything I've wanted to watching it all slowly like crumble and like experiencing things I've never had to like be put through. It's crazy. Like you try moving halfway across the country, being alone, and like having this person be a big part of your life, and then being afraid to let go is a lot of like in denial and being afraid and leaving like a comfort blanket, a comfort zone in him, and it became toxic for me.
I remember it got to a point your mom even said to you, like, is this still what you want? Like, do you want to move home now?
Like just pack up and come home.
It didn't work, that's okay, like, just come home.
And I just remember saying, like, immediately, I just wiped my tears, like, no. I was like, let's not forget, like, I didn't move for him. I was doing this for me. Everyone who knew me knew, like, this was my dream. Like, whether they had met me at any point in my life, you're like, you belong there, you belong there, this is what you want, you're going to end up there. I wasn't doing it for him. It was just an added bonus that everything kind of just flowed, and I had him, and I was like, wow, it's a dream. I was like, no, like you'd be really shocked that like it takes a full year to really like get your balance and like really get used to somewhere.
I thought after a few months it would be like, okay, just adjustment period and you're okay.
It
takes so
you
much
think
more
moving's
time.
all this like aesthetic thing, you're at your own place, like it's harder than it looks, and it takes so much time to get like used to everything. So much has happened within that year of me moving. I was like, I didn't accomplish anything, like I did, but I was like, no, I need to give myself a chance and time. Like we're coming back, we're making this comeback, we're gonna be better than ever. Like time heals everything, let me tell you. But
it's like she's in such a good place now compared, like from where you were.
From where I was like this time like last year, and like from after the breakup like months ago, it just like one day it clicks, I guess. But it was like, believe me, it was a roller coaster. Like it really was, and it's crazy, but I guess it all happens for a reason. I still don't understand why it all happened.
How do you think you got the strength to do that?
To do
like
what?
was the main thing? Like just to get over everything and like be happy and be in the place you are now after like being so low. Like what was it?
I was really low. I was like at my lowest point. Like I thought I'd seen low before, and like other relationship like this was like something that I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it was having my family around, like back in the summer. Summer was coming up, even though I was really nervous to go back. And then just being really overwhelmed by the amount of support and like love I had from like my friends and like people I just met who were my friends. And even like going back to Kefalonia, just the amount of people that still were there for me and still wanted me in their lives and took me in, and like some of my friends, like I can't imagine my life like without them. Like the summer I lived, like I was also so grateful for the people I had around me that I didn't expect to be there, and the people I met through them. And it was kind of just like being busy and distracted. Like I remember one of my best friends from Canada, him and his girlfriend were over my house a lot, because he's like family to me, and he was like, bro, like, are you even happy? Like, I know you're a good girl, I know what you want, like, like go after it.
You weren't yourself as a child.
I wasn't myself in some ways.
Yeah.
And at some points it really got to me, like even in the summer. And I remember looking at him, I'm like, I'm happy, I'm fine, I'm having fun. And he's like, are you really happy? And I just remember looking at him and like breaking down. I'm like, no, I don't know when I'm ever gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was very lucky for the experience I had this summer, and the people I met and my friends and everyone coming together. Like there's gonna be a few bumps in the road, but it's all part of the journey. And I guess this was my journey, and you know, things don't always go the way you planned. It's gonna go like this. But at the end of the day, just to realize, you know, I'm very thankful for who I had around me, the things I got to do. And I just think it was just time, honestly. Time is the biggest thing that helps.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to see what can unfold within a year, especially a year that everything is so new and like still so new. I feel like it takes so long to get used to things, and you're experiencing things differently and from different points of view. So it just takes time, and then after summer, I think it kind of just clicked. Like you can only get hurt so much and let people back into your life so many times get kicked down to a point where like this is disgusting. You just start to hate it more and more, and you're just like, no, like you're kind of like starting to like think logically. Like I always had that logic in my head where I'm like, I can't let this do this to me. Like I want to be better, I want to do this. And then it just clicks, and you do it, and you get into a new routine after a year, and like things kind of just fall into place. Like things happen when you least expect it, and literally, whether it's good or bad, and it's all for a bit better reason, I think.
But I think you can see yourself week by week, like getting better than what you're doing.
And even if it's 1% every day, I used to tell myself, but now it's just like crazy to see how much my life has changed from last September to this September, and like it's all crazy. It takes time, but I mean, don't let things knock you down. Like get back up, try again. Like you literally have nothing to lose. I picked up and I moved in the weirdest circumstances, in the best way possible, and it all ended up being a roller coaster of emotions, and good and bad, and things I never had to even think I had to put up with. You know, but it was all a part of, you know,
your journey.
My journey. And honestly, I wouldn't say, like, obviously I wouldn't want to go through that again. Like, God, no, that was awful, but like, you know, there are good parts to it. There are stories to tell, guys. Lucky for you. But
and here we are now.
And here we are now. I mean, I wouldn't change it. Like, I'm glad I'm here. So, you know, that was just my story and how I got here and my steps along the way. So, what about you? Like, why are you here? Like, how did you get here?
So I have